You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Friday the 5th of September 2025 and you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. I got up this morning because there was only one thing I really needed to do today. So I was going to a meeting of the writers group that I'm a member of and trying to re-energise in Milton Keynes. It didn't feel especially re-energised today. I was the only one there, and that's because there's usually a pair of us there, but the other person, I already knew in advance they wouldn't be able to make it. But never mind. We will, when we commit to be there, we will be there, because somebody could have turned up. But I'm not going to give up at this very early stage. But yeah, I got loads of writing done in that time because there were no interruptions. And generally that's been the pattern for today. So I went and did a live stream this morning. I can't remember exactly when it was, if I'm honest. But it went on for about 3 hours. Now the chapter... So I had a little bit of a moment because I suddenly realised the timeline of what I'd written so far in Self-Portrait. It's not that it didn't work, it's that it leapt around a bit. So I feel it should be presented in chronological order, but I had stuff with, Molly and Evelyn that was set on the Sunday. Then I had stuff with Saywood that was set on the Tuesday, but then I had a chapter that was clearly still set on the Sunday back with Evelyn and Molly. So the first thing I did on that live stream this morning, once I realised that, was have a bit of a juggle. And what it unfortunately means is I've got a run of 4 chapters that don't have Saywood in them. Now that's not a horrendous deal. It's not that big a deal. It's just but then I will have a run of chapters that do. So I think I'm fine with it. The stuff with Molly and Evelyn works quite well. There's 3 chapters with them and 1 chapter that goes back to 1918. So that's what those 4 chapters are. And then a chapter that was meant to be chapter 5 has now become chapter 8. And that's the next chapter with Saywood. It's the one where I won't say too much, but she goes shopping and has an interesting encounter with one of her workmates twice. So that was chapter 5. It's now chapter 8. And then chapter 9, again, there's supposed to be something between that chapter with Saywood and Charlie and the next one. But actually the next one I've written is a continuation of that story. And actually it works absolutely fine. Once I got my head around the order things were happening, it works really, really well. But then that all stemmed from the other consideration I needed to make. Because I've been humming and hawing about what to do with the sequence set at Beamish, which is up in... It's not actually in Newcastle, but it's not far from Newcastle. It's a big open-air museum. I want to visit it before I write the chapter. And then a side of me had kind of decided, oh, no, you don't need to see the place. But the more I think about it, the more I realise, yeah, I actually do. And I could write bits of the chapter and then do the descriptions later, but that doesn't sit right with me. So I think I'm going to end up doing a trip to Beamish next week, which is good because I've got a couple of weeks off and it would be a shame if I would spend the whole time in my house. But what I might have to do is basically write that chapter slightly out of sequence because I'm on a bit of a ride now. I'm really getting on with this writing really, really well. So anyway, once I decided, basically the next 2 chapters I had planned. The first chapter was Jagvir meeting Saywood at Beamish, and then the next chapter was a much more significant chapter in which something, quite a big revelation happens. So you get to find out what's going on with Charlie, who is Saywood's workmate that she's discovered has abilities like she... Not the same abilities as her, but he has abilities. And So I swapped them round. So the chapter I'm writing now is the chapter where we find out a little bit more about Charlie's abilities, and then that will be followed with Jagvir meeting Saywood at Beamish. Because actually, those two chapters, it doesn't matter which way round they happen. In fact, it's actually that there will be more for Saywood to have a conversation with Jagvir about when they go to Beamish, if it happens after the material I'm writing today. And on top of that, I've written 4,500 words today, which is crazy. And the chapter's not even finished yet. This is going to be a long chapter. I knew it would be because quite a lot had to happen in it. But I didn't realise quite how big it's going to end up being. Well, I'm on 4,500 words. It's going to be a bigger one. It's going to be maybe 7,000 words-ish. I've broken the back of it, the stuff that's got to happen. But at the 4,500, it might even actually only come in at 6,000. It's really, really hard to tell. I know what needs to happen in the last little bit. It'll be however long it is. But say it's 6,000 words. That takes me up to 10,000 words again. I would really like to finish it by the end of the weekend. But that takes me up to 10,000 words by the end of the 7th of the month. And I'm planning to write 25,000, which means really I only need to write another 5,000 before I go back to work to kind of stay on my target. And I don't go back to work till the 15th. I did some other exciting stuff today, but I've run out of time to talk about it. So I will do that tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening. Take care, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.